wherever you are based at this moment. I want to thank you very much for taking trouble to listen to me as I explain the systems that have failed the enjoyment of workers' rights in Uganda. I have explained in my earlier presentations the fact that we have rights in Uganda that are grossly abused, and that this is coming largely because of several factors. And one of them that I've indeed explained is the systems that are in place that are denying workers the much desired social and economic justice. I've dwelled so much on this subject because, as I've already explained, the state in which the workers of Uganda are, majority actually, is not good. The workers of Uganda are really dwelling in circumstances that require serious intervention. And we, the people who have been given the mandate to speak for these workers who are going through a lot of pain, have not also done a lot of work to help them come out of the state in which they are. And we may not have understood exactly whether or not what we are doing is useful to the workers, but at least we have taken trouble personally to try and see how we can be able to highlight certain factors that we think are responsible for the failed delivery of services to the workers. Yes, short while ago I did speak about the system that exists in public service, and that is a message that I hope colleagues who are responsible for organizing and representing workers in public service will be able to take it in good faith. But before I even go to other systems that involve government, that involve employers, let me delve much more today on the systems that are entirely under the control of the workers themselves. And that this is a system that is administered by the trade unions. The trade unions, as you may be aware, are organizations that are established under the Labor Unions Act. And these trade unions are established specifically to advocate for the rights of the working people, to ensure that the working terms and the conditions of service in the workplaces are really improved. And you know, you will never find a workplace with the perfect working terms and conditions of service. There's always room for improvement. And in the past years, we had very few trade unions. During the days of Idi Amin, I think we had only 18, and it was a mandatory time. All workers, you had to join any one of those 18 unions. There were many, but they were condensed to 18. As time went by, these unions grew, and right now, as we speak, we have about 46, 47 trade unions now that are operating in Uganda. And these trade unions are supposed to function in the different sectors. Every union has a sector in which they operate. And the unions organize workers in those sectors, and they represent workers in those sectors. But you see the level of unionization in those sectors is very, very, very small. The union penetration in the workplaces is very small, still very low. The percentage is really very, very low. I don't know if we can even reach 10%, I'm not sure of that. But these figures, like I've already shared with you earlier, we will need to make a very clear assessment to find out how many members do we have, genuine members. I'm not talking about exaggerated members. We must be able to declare the exact membership we have in the trade unions and see the state in which we are, whether we can effectively be able to say we are organizing and representing workers in Uganda with the size of members that we have. If we realize the membership is very low, then that will be a good challenge for us to work harder and make sure that the membership grows. Because actually workers are interested in joining trade unions. Workers are interested in joining trade unions. All they want to know is whether we are ready to give them the service that they seek for. If we can be able to prove that we are up to the task, we will have workers in trade unions. The workers will be able to participate in the patronizing of those unions to ensure that unions deliver the services that they must be able to deliver. But these 47 trade unions are organized under two umbrella organizations, that is the two national federations, National Organization of Trade Unions and the Central Organization of Free Trade Unions, that is COFTO. Now, the challenge that we have, these systems that are existing, have also in one way or the other denied workers the social and economic justice that I've been talking about. You see, it is not only right for us to talk about the problems that we are facing with government, not sufficient for us to talk about the problems we are facing with the employers. There are many more problems we are facing amongst ourselves as workers and our organizations. And this time around, let me delve deeper into this kind of problems that we are facing, and which problems have denied workers the enjoyment of their rights. And I would want to say, colleagues, these issues I'm explaining them in good faith. And you know, there is no platform where we can ever discuss these issues freely. You know what happens every time meetings are called? There are all manner of accusations and counter-accusations and meaningful engagement to help us address our problems reasonably cannot be realized. But even though those meetings were there, that would not deter me from going ahead to explain what I believe the public or the working people deserve to know. Now, this trade union is organized under these two umbrella bodies, are also organizing workers in those different sectors. But some of the sectors where these unions come have so many unions. Take, for example, when you look at a union like the sector like public service. Public service having close to 14, 15 trade unions. I'm actually not very sure the exact number, but I'm told they are of late registered a number of unions that are also coming from public service. And I really want to talk about public service because, you know, public service is supposed to give even a very good example. Being government workers, we should be able to function in such a way that will give examples even to the rest of the trade unions, because the government should be able really to dwell much more on standards more than, because government implements and ensures that there are rules, there are standards that must be observed so that society is properly managed. Yeah? Now, if we have government employees who are really themselves in a disorganized form, then I'm not very sure how we will be able to organize the private sector when public service is disorganized. I would want to say now, in the case of government, we have got close to 15 trade unions that are representing workers in that sector. In my view, having 15 trade unions in public service, organizing workers, organizing public servants, is really not proper. It is so unfair for us to be able to continue registering unions to organize workers in the same sector to a tune of 15 trade unions. Of course, I'm moving from there, coming back down to look at what happens in the private sector. But having 15 trade unions organizing workers in the public sector is totally unacceptable. And those trade unions can never, by whatever means, be able to deliver services to the public servants. We need to have unions that are few. If, for example, we're able to get at most 3 public sector trade unions. In the public service, we have about 3 trade unions that are organizing the public servants. That will do us a great deal, because we do not see a reason. Sometimes we are driven by selfish desires to say, let us have a multiplicity of trade unions. But honestly speaking, a multiplicity of trade unions to do what? To advance